everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. In this tutorial I will be showing you how to make this absolutely incredible stitch. So you can use this obviously for big blankets, baby blankets or scarves, or even a summer wrap would be absolutely amazing in this stitch. It's a 1 row repeat once you get going, which is always amazing, and it's just really simple but so effective. So you can see here I've been using 2 different yarns. I've been using a variegated cake, which is a mandala baby, and then I've just been using a contrasting DK to go with it. And I've done 2 rows of each colour, which I think really shows off this stitch beautifully. So you can use absolutely any yarn that you like and just use whatever hook size your selected yarn recommends. If you're doing 2 rows of each colour, you will be able to carry your colours up the side like I have been doing along this edge. But you can see the beautiful straight edges that you get with this stitch. That's one side and then that's the other side. So you can see it's lovely and straight, ready to add a border if you wanted to. Now the edges are going to be like this, obviously, because we're doing a variation of a granny ripple. So I don't tend to straighten off my granny ripples. I like to leave them as they are at the top and the bottom because I think it just looks really nice. And also if you've worked it horizontally like this is a nice edge to finish on for a wrap as well. And if you added a fringe or tassels, it would look absolutely brilliant. So we're just going to jump straight on in. So as with all granny ripples, keeping your edges straight is so important, and at the beginning you can feel like they're not going straight. You can feel like they're, if I just turn this is the beginning. So as you can see on the beginning, you will feel like your work is growing out as you go. But if you're using a stitch marker to mark that first stitch, you will never go wrong, hopefully. So just remember, you will feel like it is growing, but as long as you've got the right amount of stitches, then you're good to go. For the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going to be using these beautiful shades of Shapey's Stonewashed XL and a 5mm hook. So obviously we will start with our slip knot as always. And then our foundation chain for this project needs to be done in multiples of 18. So groups of 18 until it is the width that you want it to be, but just remember that your project will shrink up a little bit as you actually work your ripples along. So a multiple of 18. So yarn over, pull through, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you just complete your multiples of 18. Once you've completed your multiples of 18, you want to add an additional 6 chains to the end. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so that is your foundation chain. We're then going to work back along, and please do remember for the entirety of this project I'm going to be using UK treble crochet. Now please do remember in the US these are your double crochet. So if you're used to US terms, whenever you hear me say treble, just think US double. Okay, so into the 6th chain from the hook, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is our 6th. You're going to put 3 UK trebles. So yarn over, insert into that 6th chain, yarn over and pull up. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is how you do a treble. So now we want 2 more into that same chain. So we've got 2 now, and then a 3rd. So that is your first group of 3. You then want to skip 2 chains, so you're going to skip 1 and 2, and then into the 3rd you will do 3 trebles again. So we'll always be working in groups of 3 trebles. That's 1, 2 and 3, all in the same chain. So we've got 2 groups now. We're going to skip 2 and then we're going to do a 3rd and final group of 3. 1, 2 and 3. So we're always going to have 3 groups of trebles before we do either a peak or a dip. So we're going to create a dip at this point. So you're going to skip 5 chains. So you're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then into the 6th, you're going to do your next set of 3. So skip 5 and then 3 trebles into the next. It's 1, 2 and 3. So you can see that is going to create a dip. So that's 1 set. Skip 2 and into the 3rd you will do your 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. So that's 2 sets since our dip. So we'll do 1 more. So skip 2 and 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. So we've got our 3 sets going down, our 3 sets coming back up, and at this point we're going to create our peak. So you want to chain 3, and then you're going to go back into that same chain that you've just worked those 3 trebles into. So you're going to put your next set of 3 trebles into that same chain after you've done your chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. So you can see we had 3 going down, 3 going up, and then this one that we've just done here is going to be the first of our 3 going back down. So skip 2 and 3 trebles. So that's 2 sets now. So skip 2 again and 3 trebles into the 3rd. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've worked our 3 down from our peaks. We've got 1, 2 and 3, and we want to create our next dip by skipping 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3 trebles into the next. Okay, and at this point you should be able to pause, rewind if you need to, and just continue that all the way along. So that section there from when we've just skipped these 5 chains, and we are going to start on your 3 going up, your chain 3, and then start your next 3 going down in that same chain. So you'll go 3 up, chain 3, 3 down, skip 5, and so on and so forth. And I will meet you as you get towards the end of your chain. Okay, so you should be doing a dip, and then you'll have your 2 coming back up, and then you'll have 3 chains left. So you'll skip 2 as normal, and then you will work a peak in this final chain. So you'll do your final group of 3 for coming up to your peak. You'll do your chain 3, and then back into that same chain, that very last chain, you will do your 3 trebles. So you'll have a full peak stitch worked into this very last chain. 2 and 3. Okay, so you will feel like that end stitch is all wrong and all wonky and whatnot, but it's not. It is exactly how you need it to be. Okay, this is what I was saying about it feeling wrong and feeling like your sides are going absolutely crazy, but I promise you it's not. At this point now, because I'm going to do 2 rows of each colour again, we're going to chain 5, and we're going to turn, and then straight into this chain 3 space. So you'll skip all these trebles, and straight into this space you will do your first set of 3. So into that chain 3 space, that peak from the last row, you will do 1, 2, 3. And then this is going to count as our first set of trebles going down towards our dip. So you'll then skip this next group of trebles and you will work into the next space here, and you will do your 3 trebles. So 1, 2 and 3. So we've got 2 working down towards our dip. So we'll work our final set of 3 into this next space here. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so we've now got our 3 groups going down towards the dip. You can see our dip here, all of these chains that we missed, and we've got a group of trebles on either side. So we're going to skip both of these groups, okay? So you're going to ignore these 2 completely and you're going to go straight into the space after that first group of trebles after your dip. So you'll skip all of these stitches and go straight into that space and do your next set of 3. Okay, so that is how you should look. You will skip all these stitches, and then this counts as our first one on our way back up to our peak. So you'll now work in between your next set of trebles and you will do your 3 trebles. And then your very next space here should be the chain 3 of your peak, and you're going to create a new peak there. So you're going to do your 3 trebles, you'll chain 3, and then back into that same space you'll do your next set of 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. And then again that is going to count as your first set as you work back down to your dip. So we've got 1, and then we're going to work into these next 2 spaces to create our 3 going down. 1, 2 and 3, and then again 3 into the next space. 1, 2 and 3. So that's our 3 groups going back down. As you can see, we've got 1, 2 and 3, and then again you're going to skip across the whole of this dip and the groups of trebles on either side and go straight into that space after and work back up again. So if you continue that, let me just do these next couple of stitches. So if you continue that now, you will work your 3 going up and create your new peak, your 3 going down and skip across the whole of this section where you've worked your dip and your groups either side, and I will meet you as you get back towards the end. So I've just worked my stitches here, I've just skipped my dip, so I've got the first set on my way back up. I'm going to work my second set. 1, 2 and 3, and then we've got a group of 3 trebles and the chain 5 that we skipped of our foundation chain, and we're just going to work into this chain 5 space, and we're going to be creating a peak because we've just skipped our dip, and then we've got 1 and 2, and now we're going to work a peak into this chain 5. So you'll do your 3 trebles, you'll do your chain 3, and then back into that same space you will do 3 more trebles. So you will always be finishing with a full peak worked into that chain 5. Okay, so that is how you should be looking, and again I'm just going to show you this end because you will feel like it is going absolutely wonky and crazy and it's just the end of the world. I promise you it's absolutely not. Your edges will be perfectly straight, okay? You will always finish with your peak into that chain 5. So at this point I'm going to change colour. If you were continuing with a yarn cake or something, you would just chain 5 and turn, but I'm just going to change colours here. So I'm going to finish on this final treble, leaving 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to grab this new colour. And I'm going to just pull it through those final 2. And then I'm going to do my chain 5. And I'm going to turn. I'm going to leave my other yarn attached because obviously I can carry my yarn up the sides because I'm only using 2 colours. Okay, so this row now is the row that you will repeat over and over again, because on this row we're going to start doing our wonderful spike stitches, which give this really dense closed texture. So we've chained 5, and then straight into that chain 3 of the peak from the last row, you're going to work 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. At this point, pop a stitch marker through that chain 5 so that you know exactly where you need to work your peak stitch when you come back along the other way. Always mark your chain 5 space if you're not sure. But I will keep saying it, your edges will feel like they are going crazy until you're probably on at least row 10, okay? So we've turned, we've done our first set of 3 trebles into that space, and now when we skip to this space here, you can see we have got stitches directly below that we can start working our spike stitch into. So we're going to do our first treble in that space as normal, because it's always the middle treble of our chain 3 that we want to work our spike stitch. And you're going to work your spike stitch into the middle treble from directly below. So you'll be able to see you've got the top of 1, 2 and 3, and you want the middle one, and you'll go through the whole of the stitch, okay? So you want to yarn over, go down into that stitch, go through the whole of the stitch, and then you'll yarn over and pull up. Now don't just stop here, you need to make sure that you pull it up nice and tall so that it's the same height as your other stitches. You'll then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you can see that that just creates that beautiful spike right down, and it will cause your work to bunch up slightly, so you want to pull it apart to find that space again, because you need to do your 3rd treble of this group back into that normal space that we would work into. Okay, so that's our first spike stitch done. So we've got 2 groups now, so we want 1/3 and final 1 on the way down to our dip. So into this next space you will work a treble, and then again you're going to do your spike stitch into the middle treble of the one directly below. So yarn over, insert into that middle treble, yarn over and pull up nice and tall, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then again pull your rows apart so that you can find that space that you will normally work into. Okay, so you'll be able to work 2 spike stitches on the way down, 2 spike stitches on the way up. So that is our first set done. We're then going to skip the dip as always. So you're going to skip this group of trebles and the next group, because this will always be your natural dip. And then into the next space you will do your treble and then your spike stitch into that one middle in the row below, and yarn over and pull up tall and complete, and then again another treble into the normal space. So that's 1 on the way up, that's 2, and then again you're ready to work your peak. So you'll do your 3 trebles, chain 3, and 3 trebles back into that space. And then again, you're going to work back down. So you've done your first one and you want 2 more. And these will be your groups with your spike stitches. So 1 and then your spike stitch. So yarn over and pull up tall. And then again, another treble into that normal space and 1 more group. So treble. You'll work your spike stitch and then treble back into that space. And again, you should be at a dip and skipping these next 2 groups of trebles. So again, you're going to repeat that all the way along until you get towards the end of your row. So as you get towards the end, you should be working 2 sets of stitches after your final dip. And then into that chain 5, you can see we've got this lovely big space here from the chain 5. You will work your peak. So you'll do your 3 trebles, chain 3, and 3 trebles back into that chain 5. 1, 2, and 3. Again, you can see here, this is where your foundation chain ended, and you can see we have gone whoop, all the way out here. Okay, that is correct. I really can't stress that enough. Please don't start panicking. And again, our foundation chain on the other end ends here, and you can see we stick out that way again. Okay, and this is the end of our foundation chain on this side, and it looks like we are right out here. That is what you want. Okay, so at this point again, you will chain 5 and turn, and then straight into that chain 3 space you will do 3 trebles. It's just so important to remember that you only do 3 trebles in that first chain 3 space. Do not treat it like a peak, okay? Because if you do treat it like a peak, then yes, your edges will go absolutely wonky donkey, which we don't want. So when you chain 5 and turn, you only work 3 trebles into this first chain 3. The rest of them, yes, you'll do your proper peak, but this first one, you only want 3, okay? And that is what is going to keep your edges straight, okay? So if I ignore the knot from my slip knot from my foundation chain, you can see that this edge, if I look from here, is actually starting to look pretty straight, okay? So you'll then repeat that last row over and over. You will start your spike stitch in this next one here because you've got stitches directly below that you can work into. So your middle trebles will be your spike stitches. So I'm just going to work to the end of this row with you so that I can show you how I pick my yarn back up if you were carrying it up the edges like I have been doing. But you will just repeat that last row that I showed you over and over until your project is the size that you need it to be. So obviously you can pause, rewind, do whatever you need to do, and I will meet you in a second. Okay, so as you get towards the end, you will work your 2 groups after your final dip as normal, and then into this chain 5 at the end, you're going to work your final stitches. So you'll do your peak. So you'll do your 3 trebles, your chain 3, and 3 trebles back into that chain 5. 1, 2, and because I'm picking up my colour again, I'm going to start with my 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to grab that paler purple and just pull that through those last 2 loops, and I'm going to do my chain 5 and then turn, and I'm ready to start my next row all over again. But as I say, you just have to have the guts to go with the wonky edge at the start because even though it feels like it's going absolutely wonky, it's not. It's exactly how you need it to be. And as I say, just keep marking your chain 5s as you start just mark these end gaps so that you know where to work your final peak stitches. But you should be able now to repeat that over and over again until your project is the size that you want it to be. As I say, I don't straighten off my ripple blankets when it's the granny stitch. I like the way that they look, and I tend to add tassels to the ends of my peaks to finish it off instead. But you'll be able to repeat that, and then in the end you will have something, let me just zoom out, that starts to look like this. And you can see that chain 5, they're the bits that start giving you the straight edges, okay? And you will have something that looks like this. So I really do hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please like and share it, and leave me a comment, let me know what you think. But I will see you for another tutorial really soon. But thanks as always for watching, and bye for now.